The last subtopic of the AS1 topic 2 marketing is all about market planning and market strategy. So basically businesses, our business planning is a process, and it's all about looking at or ascertaining where the business is currently positioned at, and then accordingly, based on their targets or their objectives, setting a plan of action that will allow them to reach their objectives. So in terms of business planning is comprised or is made up in its whole part by obviously all the functional areas of the business. So you would have a marketing plan from the marketing department, which we're going to look at now in this topic, or the financial plan from the financial department, the human resource plan, the human resource department, production department plan, etc. So from the perspective of a marketing plan, is probably one of the most important components of the overall business plan. And it lists the details, as I said, which are required to ensure the business meets its objectives. So really the action plan, I suppose, in summary, it's about enacting the 7 Ps in a strategized way or in a coordinated way in order to achieve the marketing objectives. And of course, each functional area's objectives will be driven from the company's corporate objectives. So for example, if there's a very broad objective by a business to grow by X% in a period of time, then that objective of growth infiltrates down to all of the other functional areas of the business in terms of what they're going to do within the marketing plan to help that growth happen, i.e. sales, etc. The financial plan will include obviously seeking and resourcing the finance or the capital needed to help the business grow over the period of time, etc., etc. So before the action plan can be designed, the first thing any company will do as a business, it will obviously conduct where it's at. Where am I, or where are we at, and what are we good at, what are we strong at, what's our weaknesses, and then therefore what do we want to try to achieve. So it's a very similar analogy that you can apply to all of sort of life circumstances, not just the business conduct or context. So the first step is they conduct a situation analysis, and what would they need to know? They would need to obviously have a full audit internally and externally within their business, and they're looking at the product that they're offering, the key features of those products or products, who are their customers currently, and the key characteristics of their customer spending behaviour, and indeed potential customers might also be included in that analysis. They also would look at their main competitors, that's the external bit, as well as the customers, their strengths, their weaknesses, what are they offering, what are they not, is there any particular gaps, for example. And also externally, the analysis would include looking at the economic climate and the impact of that current economic climate on the business's activities, because it's all very well saying, set an objective, for example, of growth, but if the current economic climate is constraining the ability of a business to grow successfully, then obviously that wouldn't be an appropriate objective at this here and now point of time. So there are a number of analytical tools that the business can use to help them carry out this analysis, this auditing position. And the two most common tools that we learn about in business theory are SWOT analysis and PESTLE analysis. And really the SWOT, very simply, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. And the PESTLE analysis is a more broad scale kind of analytical tool, which is looking at political influences, economic influences, social influences, technological influences, legal influences or change, and the environmental influences or impact of environmental change, including, for example, law would even come into that, as well as into the legal, the L of the PESTLE. So SWOT is auditing both internally and externally. Obviously inside you look at what you're good at, your strengths, but also very importantly being able to identify your weaknesses is a key part of good analysis. And strengths can vary. Some examples of what a strength might be for businesses, that they might have creativity and innovation, and that allows businesses to have creative products with unique selling points and gain first mover advantage or competitive advantage and differentiation. All those could be examples of strengths. Indeed, Strengths could include location, just simply where the business is located in comparison to its competitors. Or it could be the fact that they have excelled in customer service and they would be renowned for good customer service. Indeed, it could be just the quality of the processes that they maintain or the actual quality of the product. And obviously, strengths can be anything to do with the business's operations. Then weaknesses, you could reverse all of those strengths. Equally, they could be weaknesses. Poor marketing, poor customer service, poor quality, a poor image as a company, maybe varying because of not just the quality of the product, but how it treats its staff, how it treats its environment, or maybe even just poor customer service, not good in responding to complaints or feedback to customers with queries, etc. So opportunities and threats then are the external factors, and they're really to do with what is happening outside of the business that the business could seek as possible opportunities to exploit and develop within their business then. Looking at maybe new markets, new opportunities in new countries, or perhaps even gaps in other industries that the business could diversify into. It could be that the competitor is struggling with something or is going to decline, and you as a business take advantage of that as an opportunity to exploit. And threats then, again, reversal as well. New competitors coming into your market is always a threat to you. Price wars, possibility of price wars could be deemed as a threat. The economic climate, which obviously we look at now in pestle, can also be a threat. You can't control the economic climate. You have to live in it as a business and survive in it very often, as well as excelling in it. But ultimately, it is not within your control, the economic climate. So that's the first step. Okay, now pestle analysis then, in terms of the breakdown of it. Pestle analysis, as I say, is about political, economic, social, technological, legal and environmental factors. Anything that's happening surrounding your business environment that will have an impact, impinge upon you as a business, either positively or negatively, obviously is a good analytical tool as a business to be using. So the second step after analysing, using those two analytical tools, is obviously to set your objectives. And as I said, setting your market objectives using the little acronym, as we know, to be SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time bound or time related. They're all contextualized obviously within the context of the corporate objectives, as I said just at the start of this audio. You don't just go off as a marketing department and decide you're going to focus on a particular objective without obviously understanding that objective needs to fit into the overall corporate objectives of the business. Step 3 then of the market planning process is formulating your strategy, and that's really, as I say, the action plan, your plan of action. What are you going to actually do to try to reach these objectives? And that's the enaction of the product, product portfolio. How are you going to promote? Where are you going to place? What does your physical environment entail? What about your people? What energy and investment are you putting into the people of your workforce? And what about your processes? All the 7 Ps. But before we go into looking at the nitty gritty, a business looks at the nitty gritty of the 7 Ps, they have to obviously segment their marketplace. They have to understand who their customers are before they start working on the 7 Ps and making decisions on the 7 Ps. So they would be looking at who is the current market for your already existing business, who do we sell to, what's their similar buying characteristics, and then ultimately, do we want to increase or expand our segmentation? So they would maybe look at potential new users for their product, or how they might modify possibly their product to reach new users. And we've learned about market segmentation before. So also alongside market segmentation, there is a market target and a market positioning process to undertake. And market targeting will really be choosing which segment to focus on, your strategy, and then, the segment which you have chosen is known as your target market. So after the firm has selected its target market from the different segments, the next stage is to decide how it wants to position itself within that chosen segment. So positioning involves a process by which firms try to create an image for their product in the minds of potential consumers. It is how organisations, want consumers to view their products in comparison to other competition or other competitors. So, for example, if you were to look at a range of chocolate bars, chocolate companies, and try to position them on a little grid, and you might look at high quality, low quality, or lower quality in terms of chocolate content, cocoa, etc. And then also look at price range, high range to high price to low price. You could, for example, position products on that little grid and then put yourself in where you think you fit within those variables of quality and price, and then accordingly be deciphering whether you want to move position within the market positioning tool. And if you wanted to move, for example, to high-end value, then obviously you might be looking at higher-end pricing strategies, and that would determine then how you would integrate or implement your piece of your mix. So that's targeting and positioning, all part of the decisions at the start about where you want to be, where you are in comparison to other current competitors if you want to change position, and then ultimately all of those decisions will feed into the actual marketing mix itself. All surrounding this whole area of then the marketing plan, of course, you need money to do all of these things, analyse and audit and plan and make decisions and spend to be able to carry out the decisions. So the marketing budget is a very important part. That's step 5 really of the plan. And the marketing budget, of course, you just can't get what you want or might want from the overall company budget. The finance department will want money, the human resource department will want money, the sales department will want money, and they're all asking for budgets, specific money to be able to carry out their activities. So marketing department is no different, and they will have to negotiate strongly for what they feel they need to be able to carry out and meet their objectives. And that has to fit obviously within, as I say, the overall financial plan of the business. Like every plan of action, when it's designed, it has to be monitored and reviewed, and that would be a very important part of planning. And once you're continually monitoring and reviewing your process, then ultimately you should be improving what's not going well, or what needs changed, or what needs modified, okay, as you go through the process. So just in summary, in terms of a marketing plan, how it goes about from stage 1 to end stage, you're carrying out a SWOT and a PESTEL, which is really the situation analysis stage 1. You're then setting marketing objectives, what you'd like to achieve, and they have to be contextualized within your corporate objectives. Then you decide how you're going to formulate your strategy, and before you decide on exactly how you're going to carry out your 7 Ps, your plan, your marketing mix, you must segment your market, or look at your segmented market, look at what you're targeting, and decide your position. And do you want to change position? Do you want to change your target market? Do you want to increase your span in terms of segmentation? And decisions have to be made on that. And once those decisions are made, then that really is determining how and what way you carry out your 7 Ps. All of that planning then needs money, as we say, and you must have a marketing budget that supports it. And as your plan then gets underway in terms of an action, you have to monitor and review your plan as it is being implemented. Now, in terms of questions, you may get, for example, an 18-mark question on this type of topic, market planning, market strategy. And it might come up something like evaluate the usefulness of preparing a plan, or evaluate the importance or the usefulness to company B of having a marketing plan, something like that. So obviously you would start your 18-mark response, of course, with a definition of a marketing plan. So you're detailing that it begins with a marketing audit designed to find out internal and external factors which affect the company's performance. This could be done conducting SWOT or PESTEL. And then in light of your analysis, you would be setting marketing objectives and then devising an appropriate strategy, okay, which is your plan of action, your 7 Ps to achieve those objectives. So that's your introduction in terms of definition. The advantages and disadvantages of the theory then, obviously you want 2 arguments for and 1 against, or 2 against, 1 for, and always each argument countered, as you know, in terms of technique. So the advantages of business market planning involves the following. It ensures the survival of a business by giving it time to reflect upon the efficiency of its operations. A marketing plan ensures that the business uses its human and financial resources probably more effectively because everything is planned, monitored, reviewed, etc. And therefore resources can be reallocated to where they are needed most. Through setting objectives and targets, the owners and managers will have a way of measuring progress. And the setting of such targets will also motivate, or should motivate, owners and managers to achieve them. And again, should is a better word than would or could, because we're not always sure whether the imposition of challenges or high-end pressure and stress in organisation is a motivating factor or not. It can be for some and it can't be for others. And of course, key advantage of a marketing plan is that it derives your marketing mix decisions, your 7 Ps, and coordinates them much more effectively. Disadvantages: there is a time and an expense in drawing up a marketing plan. And obviously it needs monitored, it needs reviewed, you need critical eyes on it at all times. There should be no bias involved in the plan. So, sometimes a couple of different lead key people in an organisation should be running their eyes over the plan. Problems is that you are enacting marketing decisions in the context of an ever-changing business environment, both internally and externally. And as we said earlier, you can't control the external environment, but ultimately changes in the external environment can put limitations on your actual business market planning. Employees, managers, indeed might find targets set in the marketing plan restrictive or maybe too ambitious, and that may cause an element of stress, or indeed may not be adequately researched and planned well enough, and in fact lose customers as opposed to attracting or maintaining customers. It takes a lot of research at the start before a plan is designed, so all of the market research, the auditing tools to be used, and obviously they are difficult and expensive to carry out. And the more time that you use to carry out that analysis obviously makes for a better foundation for a plan, but obviously sometimes plans have to be done fairly quickly and at speed to get first mover advantage, so they could be rushed or not all full evidence gathered to base good marketing decisions on. So that's the kind of areas in terms of strengths and weaknesses that you would be pulling an analysis on the usefulness or otherwise of market planning to a business. Just to recap briefly, segmentation, again, no more different than what we did back at GCSE, just to be conscious that market segmentation is breaking up into your market according to similar buying characteristics, and as we know, those segmentation segmentation ways or include geographical segmenting market, segmenting by age, by gender, by socioeconomic class or income earning potential, even lifestyle, and the usage or frequency of use, which are all behavioural ways of dividing up segments. So people's lifestyles and the frequency of which they use or buy services would also be their how they behave as consumers, behavioural segmentation. And the drawbacks and benefits of segmentation. The benefits of segmentation really is about allowing you to increase your market share because you are targeting, more focused targeting on your actual potential customers who are likely to buy. It also assists you in terms of new product development. It allows you to extend products into new markets, and it also helps you identify ways of marketing better your products. Drawbacks is that it's difficulty in identifying the most appropriate segments for a product. You need to be able to identify, you need to be reachable, you need to be distinct, and you need to be very, very focused on understanding what your customers' needs, wants and interests are. And also difficulty of segmentation is recognizing changes in segments interested in the product. Like markets are very dynamic, and businesses cannot assume that an existing segment will always stay loyal to their product, so they have to constantly research segmentation and be on top of changes in consumers' buying patterns and views and opinions. And consumers are volatile; they can be influenced very easily by competitors' actions, etc., and therefore switch quickly in terms of loyalty from business to business, or even indeed in terms of their purchasing behaviour. The evaluation of segmentation in terms of advantages, again, it allows businesses, however, to practice price discrimination based on the needs, the similar buying characteristics, or income, earning potential of buyers. It means that larger businesses are less likely to try to compete in the smaller markets. So some businesses have actually less competition in smaller segments, and it may be possible to grow segments in the future using variations of products that you are producing. Disadvantages means that it will mean that separate marketing mixes are required for each segment if you're a business that has several segments running at the same time. And there are obviously higher research costs to discover market segmentation and to support the work of market segmentation. So that is market segmentation built into market targeting and market planning.